Hello, John Talley here with Partzilla.com. Today I'm going to show you how to replace the seals on the front calipers on our 2008 Honda CBR600RR. Pretty simple procedure. Starts by just draining the brake fluid. So let's grab a couple of tools and I'll show you how to get it done. Alright guys, you're going to want a decent quality torque wrench. Just a regular 3/8 ratchet, a 12 and a 14 millimeter socket, 5 millimeter Allen, and then a 8 millimeter just regular wrench. Also want to get you one of these little right angled Phillips screwdrivers, a pick tool, and then maybe a set of pliers. Really, that's about it. Pretty short list. Alright, let's go ahead and get our little mighty vac connected here, and then we'll take off that cap on the reservoir, get all the fluid out of the system. Alright, that should get it. Alright, next, well, it's still attached. Let's go ahead and at least break these pins loose that are actually holding in the pads themselves. Next, we can go ahead and remove the brake line. Careful not to lose either one of the crush washers because you've got one on either side. And try to keep the brake fluid off your paint because it will eat through it in a hurry. Next, we just need to unbolt it from the carrier. Now keep in mind these two main caliper bolts, they're not supposed to be reused. So when you're ordering your parts, make sure you get a new pair of these because they're one-time use only. She just slides right off. Tell you what, let's go ahead and head over to our teardown bench and get those seals out of there. Alright, let's go ahead and get those pins out so we can get the brake pads out of the way. Now, when do you have to do this? Well, honestly, if it starts leaking around the caliper, chances are one of the seals is gone, your brakes feel spongy, or maybe the pistons are locking up and causing it to wear prematurely, on your pads. So those would be a couple of examples why you need to go in and take a peek at this. All right, what I want to do is go ahead and clean this out a little bit because I don't want to get any contaminants in there, any of that dust. Alright, the next part's a little bit scary. We're actually going to use the air pressure to push the pistons out. You don't want to just cram it on there and go wide open because they would shoot out like they came out of a cannon. And don't get your fingers anywhere near it. So what we want to do is just apply just a little bit of pressure. There we go. Get them to kick out. Remember, you got 4 of them in there. So may have to push the other side back in a little bit to get the first 2 out. You also want to keep up how they came out because I prefer to put them back in the same bore that they've been in. Alright, so that's going to be on the top side. So we're going to lay it out like that. Alright, let's get those last 2 kicked out. This will require a little bit more pressure. There. If you grab it with a pair of pliers, make sure you're all the way up because you don't want to scar the piston itself. There we go. Now you'll notice that on the parts diagram it actually shows 2 different part numbers for what I call the top half and the bottom half. Reason being, the top half is just a little bit bigger than the bottom, and you can tell by the pistons themselves. It's probably about a millimeter or 2 different in diameter. Alright, so let's start getting this stuff cleaned up. Yeah, this is just the dust buildup. This is all normal. The inside of this one really looks to be in great shape. There's no pitting, no scarring, anything on the pistons themselves. I mean, there's actually nothing wrong with these I'm just showing you how to rebuild them if you do have a problem on yours. Alright, let's get these seals pulled out. Alright, like I said, the one at the top's a little bit larger than the one on the bottom, so you want to make sure that you get those in the right position. Having teeny tiny fingers would help. And now we go for the bottom one. Alright, now I only did one side of this caliper. Of course, you're gonna, if yours is leaking, which this one really wasn't, you need to replace all four on both sides if you're going to do both sides. But actually doing the other side is a mirror image of this, so the exact same procedure. All right, before we put our pistons back in, I'm going to go ahead and coat them down, and the bores as well, with some DOT4 brake fluid. All right, let's start popping them back in. Make sure you keep this just as clean as you can, because any contaminants in there would not be very kind to the system. Alright, now we just need to get this cleaned back off, get all that brake fluid off of there, and get it reinstalled on the machine. Alright, let's get this booger put back together. Go ahead and get your pads in, push against that spring. Alright, get your other pin in. To start with, just get them in there hand tight. Make sure your pads are pushed open. And let's go ahead and get her up there. Alright, remember, those bolts are one-time use, so make sure you've got new ones. Alright, with those just hand tight, let's go ahead and get the torque on them. 33 foot-pounds will take care of it. Next, let's go ahead and get our hydraulic line hooked up. And that one is set to 25 foot-pounds, so bring that down. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps this one up. The only thing left now is just to refill and then bleed the system. And if you would, reference our video on how to do that. I'll show you how to get it done the right way. If you need any of the parts, come see us at Partzilla.com and we can get you taken care of. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them below and I'll do my best to answer them. And until next time, we just want to say thanks for watching.